Can too much devotion to the source material, or rather, the legend of the source material, ruin a sequel? Despite the writer's best efforts, most of the audience left 2006's The Devil Wears Prada loving Miranda Priestly, which is why the 2026 sequel will never be able to reach the heights of its predecessor. The sequel is too cowardly to take an honest look at the original and make bold character decisions. Instead, they hide under the safe cover of reductionist online narratives and flatten one of the most iconic movie characters of modern filmmaking to ensure likability. Miranda, like Runway, has been cheapened to achieve mass appeal. The 2006 movie uses a classic but effective trope to take us on a journey. It gives us a point-of-view character that is easy to care for and relate to. Andy Sachs is a promising graduate interested in a serious career in journalism. The best job she can get her hands on is second assistant to legendary editor-in-chief Miranda Priestly, leader to the most prominent fashion magazine in the world, Runway. However, there are two issues. First, Andy does not care for or even respects fashion. She finds it to be a vapid hobby for those with too much time in their hands and too little to actually worry about. Second, Miranda Priestly is an impossible-to-satisfy perfectionist with unreasonable expectations for anyone under her command. This setup allows for an exploration of the fashion industry's best and worst qualities, but also grapples with the complexities of high-power female industry leaders. Throughout the movie, we, along with Andy, discover the value of fashion, a value that is imbued not by the beauty that clothes carry, which has been evident since the beginning, but by the soul and devotion of people in the industry. In the world of Runway, fashion is not only about looking good, it's art in motion, the epitome of human creation and dedication, the uniting thread that connects kindred spirits through the aesthetic experience. The moment Andy truly starts understanding why Runway matters is not when Miranda delivers her iconic "It's not blue, it's cerulean" monologue. It's when Nigel, Miranda's right-hand man and Andy's mentor, tells her what a shining beacon of hope Runway was for him as a lonely young boy who could not find anyone to understand his passion for fashion. Andy now values clothing because they are an extension of the human spirit. Having a newly discovered respect for the industry, Andy also reevaluates her assessment of Miranda. The effort, time, and dedication she has and expects is what holds together this beacon of light. The lengths she's willing to go to champion artistry becomes noble and inspirational. Andy realizes that Miranda's high expectations not only hold Runway together, but also push her employees to achieve impossible feats. And while she asks for too much from others, she also sacrifices plenty, especially in her family life. This is the part of the movie where most people decide that the real villain is Andy's boyfriend, Nate, who openly whines about how much she has changed to please Miranda and other fashion people, because he has not seen what we have seen, the wonders of the industry, the thrill of achieving what others wouldn't even try, the access that being exceptional gives you. Nate does not understand what it is to be extraordinary, and so he resents Andy for trying to be it. Or at least that's the way his character reads to many watching the film, for reasons I'll explore later. But the movie does not let us ride that high for too long. As Miranda's life directly reflects Andy's, with their romantic relationships hanging by a thread and having to choose professional security or throwing someone else under the bus, Andy realizes that becoming a Miranda might turn her into a kind of person that she does not want to be. She abandons Runway, apologizes to her now ex-boyfriend Nate, and starts building her career as a journalist with, surprisingly, a Miranda stamp of approval. Many people see the ending as a lapse in judgment from the writers. Andy's decision to abandon Runway and regret her deep commitment to it feels like a denouncement of women's ambition and prioritizing of their own careers. Instead of perceiving Miranda as an extremist who's ultimately unsatisfied because of her extreme perfectionism and sacrifices, the audience not only admires her commitment to an industry we already spent an hour falling in love with, but her sacrifices make her dedication seem noble. That superficial interpretation, ignoring the complexities that make her more human, leaves us with a shallow shell of what the character really is. In the first movie, Miranda is the incarnation of the fashion industry in many ways, admirable and awe-inducing but also flawed. Andy's arc is defined by how close to Miranda's real self, good and bad, she is. As I said, when Andy becomes more professionally accomplished, her life mirrors Miranda's, signaling that being like Miranda is the only way to be as high-performing. But the film, in my opinion, falls flat to a lot of people when it comes to the sacrifices Andy's making because the peripheral characters that are supposed to enrich both her and Miranda's life don't seem to be that big of a loss. Andy's friends show up to inform her how big of a deal Miranda is, then again to make fun of her for caring, and last to judge her on who she's become. Nate, her boyfriend, does not display enough passion or admiration for Angie's original self to convince us his resentment is not purely based on his displacement on her list of priorities, which would be a valid argument for a boyfriend to make, but he tries to pretend that it's just a moral issue. Essentially, for us to buy that Andy is turning away from an amazing life by turning Miranda-esque, we should see more bliss in original Andy. She could have been unfashionable but self-assured, extremely moral, or particularly witty. Something to demonstrate those good qualities listed on her resume. The most effective scenes showcasing what Andy is losing by committing to Runway are actually those with her father, who seems worried, not pissy, and glad to be with her, not demanding. However, he's not really brought up again when Andy has her realization about how much she's abandoning what truly matters. Miranda's losses, on the other hand, are her daughter's recital and her husband. Daughters we never invest time in caring about to understand how much of a blow this is. Is music particularly important to them? Is this significant because Miranda never misses an event, or is it because she always does? And then there's the husband, who only shows up to moan about not being a priority, but is never seen making an effort to create the moments he complains they never have. I understand we're supposed to assume this is Nate decades into the future, tired after trying and being left out to dry over and over again. But that's exactly why Nate's shallowness as a character is important. Because he's not convincing enough as a good boyfriend, his foil is not convincing enough as a good husband. Ultimately, the sacrifices these women are making look like society punishing them for being professionally driven, rather than a consequence of their own selfishness. That's why the most effective moment when it comes to understanding Miranda's character is her betrayal of Nigel. When she throws his dream job, one that was at his fingertips, to a competitor to get them out of her way. We finally see that no matter how much she repeats to herself, how much her followers buy it, Miranda's tight grip is not about selfless love for fashion and artistry. It's also about ambition. This is where Miranda's cruelty shines. This is the thing she should atone for. When Miranda is seen as a bad wife and mother, it seems like she's being punished for prioritizing her career the same way a man would be allowed to and even expected to. We don't see Miranda being a bad wife and mother. We're supposed to know she's falling short in these categories because we're supposed to know what a good wife and mother is, and she's never playing those roles, which is inefficient in a movie that has spent the bulk of its run subverting narratives that paint women as vapid and showing us why primarily female interests are important. To sell us on that typical narrative or fantasy that she would be a good mother if we saw her being one, and if she's not, it means she's completely absent, is just lazy. That blind spot in the original movie is only amplified in the sequel. Before, Miranda is allowed to be flawed and coherent, which makes her more human, easier to get attached to. And although it was overlooked, in my opinion, it also hit on a truth for a lot of women, that they get punished for being professionally driven. However, in 2026's The Devil Wears Prada, the writers decided to make Miranda fallible, and Andy comes back to Runway as a resource to give some gravitas to the writing team after the publication praises a brand with unethical practices. While I do admire a good step towards keeping Miranda grounded by putting her in a vulnerable position and reimagining her as a protagonist with challenges to overcome, quickly the film loses track of who Miranda is in service of this new lens we're supposed to perceive her through. While most of Miranda's strengths are kept, her dedication, encyclopedic knowledge of her field, and hard work, the flaws that naturally accompanied them in the first film and added texture to her character are excused or forgotten so she can turn into a lovable type of woman. This Miranda's perfectionism does not make her so emotionally distant that she denies her smiles to people. Now she smiles all the time and opens her heart to Andy about dreams and aspirations while day drunk. She's not dismissive of her employees' perspective, she simply needs someone she respects enough to literally keep her in check about culturally sensitive moments. In this case, a mini Miranda played by beautiful Simone Ashley. She does not make ridiculous demands. Andy is the one who offers the impossible in an effort to gain favor in front of her, which she knows from her past times at Runway, and Miranda passively accepts the offering. She is not so cold-blooded now that she throws her only friend under the bus to keep her job. She simply never knew Nigel wanted to work independently because he never asked for it. To me, this is the strongest indicator of how they wanted to erase Miranda's flaws. What in the first movie became the deciding moment that put into perspective for Andy how no one is off limits if you want to get to the top is retconned as a mere oversight by the woman who is famously detail-oriented. Worst of all, we sacrifice the most unsavory parts of the character, essential to robust writing, and don't even give her enough to do to actually call her a protagonist, for us to root for her. We want Andy to succeed in saving Miranda's job when it's threatened because, like Andy, we remember what she used to be, what Runway was during the golden years. Current Miranda does not display courage by standing up for the integrity of the magazine, ingenuity by crafting a masterful plan behind closed doors, or even creativity by maintaining Runway's spirit alive with limited resources. We see Miranda bend down to the corporate handlers, and we keep waiting for her to stand up. However, her revitalization is just running to a new handler who seems more benevolent and was contacted by Andy in the first place. But if the audience already loved Miranda, why would they change her? 2006's Miranda Priestly is a sympathetic villain. We're meant to admire her good qualities, slightly identify with her, and peek at the cold corporate world that pushes her towards who she is, but ultimately understand that her behavior is harmful towards those who are the heart and soul of her industry. Andy, Nigel, her other assistant Emily, and designers who pour their hearts in every piece are all casualties so Miranda can stay on top. Her position in the film gives the writers permission to play in muddier waters, leaning to the extremes, good and bad, that make an interesting personality and an iconic figure who you are sure to remember. Repositioning Miranda as a protagonist makes her mold tighter. As much as we want to give ourselves a pat on the back for centering more complex characters nowadays, with the anti-hero reigning supreme, the truth is writers are still scared to make their leads unlikable, annoying, or unscrupulous, especially the female leads. So, protagonist Miranda is softer. She's not mean, she's narky, plus she's simply from a different time. But she's learning and listening. She hangs her own coats now, shares knowing looks with her assistants, and opens up because that's the only way the audience could understand she's more emotionally complex than her exterior would communicate. Not like the previous movie achieved that without making her a completely different character from one day to another. There's also the Anna Wintour of it all. The Devil Wears Prada adapts the book by the same name, which is very famously about Vogue's editor-in-chief, Anna Wintour, and her treatment towards the staff working under her. The original movie was divorced from Anna, with some fashion designers even rejecting association with the movie, fearing Wintour's retaliation. This separation of church and state allowed writers to have a more critical approach to her fictional counterpart. In 2026, the character and movie are so beloved that it serves Anna to be associated with a figure often described as iconic. It mythologizes her. So, Anna is kinder to the film, and in return, the film is kinder to her persona, giving her a benefit of the doubt that the original never even considers. In short, while entertaining at times, The Devil Wears Prada 2 fails at delivering the thrills the first movie does by running away from what made its predecessor special in the first place. Its unwillingness to be controversial amongst fans and industry peers loses any edge it might have. Its glorification of the original leaves it unable to repair the cracks that were left open in the 2006 version, and its biggest victim is the most iconic character, now a toothless, less-dimensional version of its former self. Even so, I can never say watching Meryl Streep play Miranda is a loss of time. Her performance manages to still breathe new life into the character in the smallest moments, like the heartbreak when facing the crushing realization that both her and the art she has devoted her life to might be a fading relic. Moments like that are the heart and soul of the character, the profound love for something, the profound investment in the myth of herself, the devotion and the egocentrism, not devouring each other, fighting off a scene, simply coexisting.